Hi there! In today's video, I'm going to be making some AI slop for YouTube. And the kind of slop I'm going to make today is motivational videos. You know, the ones that have some audio clip of some famous person saying something profound, and then there's some background music, and there's some stock videos in the background, and then you can see the transcript of whatever the quote is that that famous person said. But instead of using a quote from an actual famous person, we are going to be generating with an LLM some quotes, in quotes, of something that sounds like something a famous person would have said. You know, not to get sued. And also, we're not going to actually be using any stock videos. We are going to generate the videos with AI. And we're even going to make the music with AI. So nothing is human-made in this video, except the code that I'm going to write. So let's get started. The first thing we need is we need to create those quotes. And I'm going to use the Gemini API for this. So if we take a look at the Gemini API, then here is how we use it in Python. So let's actually copy this whole thing to get started. And let's create like a slop.py here and slap this in here. And in order to use this, we need to import the Google Gen AI library. So we have to also install it. So let's do pip install Google Gen AI. And I'm also going to add it to my requirements.txt. And I'm also going to add the version that I'm using, because these things update so often that in 2 weeks it's not going to work anymore. And now we should be able to call Gemini with this. And let's just say hello to see if it works. So let's run python 3 slop.py, and we are missing an API key. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to export Google API key, and I'm going to copy my API key from over here. And let's put it in here. And if we now try to run this again, then we should get an answer back. And it says, hello, how can I help you today? But we don't want this kind of help. We want some quotes. So the way I intend on doing this is I'm going to make some list of categories. And then I'll have a list of authors that I want to plagiarize. I mean, take inspiration from. And then I will ask Gemini to create quotes that sound like the authors that I list in the category that I give. So then we can later mix and match categories and authors, and then we will have unlimited slop. I'm going to say something like, make 10 motivational quotes, let's put quotes, in the style of the given authors. Don't use actual quotes from the authors, and don't mention any of the authors' works or use their signature phrases, because we don't want to like really imitate them too much or mention some of their books or something like this. We want this to be completely isolated from these authors. And let's put the authors here. Let's put them like this. And let's make this an F string. And then I'm going to read the authors from a file so we can easily change what authors we want to use without changing the actual code. So let's do with open authors.txt in read mode as F. We are going to say authors is f.read. I guess we can just read the whole thing here. So we can put comma separated authors here. And let's add some more information. We want to get this in some sort of structured format. So let's just say generate the quotes in the following JSON format. Or let's say respond in the following JSON format. And let's make this an object, because they usually like to generate objects, these LLMs. And actually, I don't have to escape the quotes. I need to escape these things like that. Oh, I have to escape the quotes as well. And I will say here quotes. And then this is going to be a list. And we are going to have quote 1. And we are going to have quote 2. And so on. And to make it a little bit better at following orders, I'm going to add here another key that is going to be something like a style guide. And I will say here, describe in a few sentences the style in which you are going to write the following quotes. So we're kind of giving it some time to think about what it's going to write. Because normally, if you just ask Gemini or ChatGPT to do something, it will usually talk some crap in the beginning. Just, okay, I'm going to write in this style and that style, and then it's going to do the actual thing after that. And I believe it's actually trained to do that, and it works better when it thinks about what it's going to do next. Even though we're not going to use this part for anything, it just helps it generate better responses. So let's save this, and I'm going to create that authors.txt file, and I'll put some authors here. Okay, I've done it. I've added the authors. I'm not going to tell you which authors I'm using. You can try to guess in the comments which 4 authors I used here. And let's see if this thing will work. Let's run Python 3 slop.py, and let's see what kind of quotes we get. Okay, and we got a bunch of quotes here. True presence is the recognition that the past and future are merely concepts appearing in the consciousness you inhabit right now. Consider the vastness of time and the smallness of your complaints. You will find that duty is a far more reliable guide than temporary emotion. Okay, these sound pretty good. But I forgot to add the subject. So let's add the subject here as well. So make 10 motivational quotes in the style of the given authors about the subject, and let's put the subject here, and we can put that in a file as well. So let's call it subject.txt, and let's code subject.txt, and we are going to put here something like work-life balance. And later on we can generate a bunch of different subjects with AI. So let's see what kind of slop we can get about work-life balance. Do not be swept away by the current of endless activity. Return frequently to the seat of your own reason to ask if your labor is truly necessary. Be like the headland on which the waves break. Stand firm against the pressure of the world's demands and find the calm within your own soul. These are pretty good, honestly. So the next thing we have to do is we have to make these into audio clips. So let's use ElevenLabs for this. Let's pip install ElevenLabs. And once again, I am going to go to my requirements.txt, and I will add ElevenLabs here. And it is this version. Okay, and how ElevenLabs works is kind of similarly to the Google Gen AI. So we are going to say ElevenLabs client is going to be ElevenLabs.ElevenLabs. And we have to import ElevenLabs. And for some reason my VS Code is stupid that it doesn't load these imports automatically. I have to reload the window every time. But now we have the ElevenLabs client here, and we can also pass in the API key here, but I believe that ElevenLabs will also use this ElevenLabs API key by default. So let's add that one. Let's do export ElevenLabs API key, and I'm going to create an API key. So I've logged into ElevenLabs, and I went to developers and API keys, and then let's create a key here. And I will call this AI Slop. And let's add text to speech. And later on, we are also going to use the music generation. So let's add access to that as well. And let's copy it and let's paste it in here. So now we can use it. And the way we're going to use it is we're going to say that the audio equals ElevenLabs client speech to, text to speech and convert. And this one takes the voice ID, which we have to get from the ElevenLabs website, and the text to generate. And we can put some text here. And then with the audio, we can use a helper from ElevenLabs. We can say ElevenLabs.save. And we can put the audio here, and we can put the file name, some file.mp3. And let's do this for all of the quotes. So we are going to generate the quotes, and then we are going to loop through all of them. But now our response is just text. We need to convert it into a list. And we can't directly just do JSON.loads because there's going to be some extra stuff sometimes in the text in the beginning, because Gemini likes to add this like JSON markdown format like this. So we have to strip these things out. So let's first import JSON, and then we are going to get the text, and we are going to replace this tick 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 JSON with nothing, and also replace just tick 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 with nothing. And then let's also strip this in case there's some new lines in there. So this will give us the dictionary that we created, so this thing, but we only want the quotes, so we can just grab them from here, quotes. Now, this is quite a mouthful of a piece of code, but let's just use it. Let's do quotes, it's that. And then we can just loop through all of these quotes. So let's say for quote in quotes, we're going to generate it. And let's use the enumerate so that we can get the index of each quote, and then we can put it in the file name. We can call it, let's say, quotei.mp3, and let's put it in some quotes directory. So let's call this audio file, and audio file is going to be os path join quotes dir, and then this name. And let's import os, and then let's define this quotes dir. So import os, and let's say quotes dir is quotes, and we can then save it in there. And some text is just going to be the quote. And we might want to save the actual quote as well, so the text of the quote, because we're going to need it later. So let's call it quote file, and this is going to be quote index.text, and we can just with open quote file as f, and we open it in the write mode. We're going to do f.write quote, just quote. Yeah, so we write the quote in the quote file. And we need to get this voice ID. So let's go to ElevenLabs, and now we go to voices. And I'm going to use this will voice. So I'm going to copy the voice ID. I'm going to slap it in here. And we should probably make this like configurable. So let's do os get env. And let's do voice ID. And let's put this as the default. So you don't have to set it if you don't want. Okay. So this should now generate our quotes as actual audio files. Let's see if it works. Let's do Python 3 slop.py, and we wait for a while, and we can actually open up this thing. And by the way, it's not going to work because I don't have the directories in here. As you can see, no such file or directory. So we are going to have to create that directory. Let's say if os path exists, quotes dir, and let's call it not os path exists, then we are going to os mkdir quotes dir. So we have to create it. And let's put here some kind of print statement generating quotes, and let's put here print generating voices, and here we can say generating voice index I, and then let's try again. So we're going to generate the quotes, the actual text, and then we're going to generate the voice index 0, and then index 1, and so on. And now we should have here quotes, and we have some MP3 files here. That's pretty cool. But I'll stop it for now. That's enough for me at this moment. Let's listen to these things.
If your attention is constantly tethered to a digital task, you are effectively absent from the very life you are working so hard to sustain.
Okay, and we have another one.
The quality of your conscious experience is the only thing that truly belongs to you. To trade it all for a future that never arrives is a profound error in reasoning.
Okay, we have now quotes. What's next? We need to generate some videos for the background. So let's use Google's VO3 API for that. And the way that works is we use the same client again. I will actually name this Google client so that we can differentiate between ElevenLabs and Google. And we need to say something like this. Google client dot models generate videos. And we have to pass in the model here, which is VO 3.1 something preview. I forgot what it is. So let's take a look. What is it? So we generate the video with VO 3.1 generate preview and then the prompt. Then we have to wait until the operation is done and then we can download the video. So let's do that. Model is generate. And then we're going to have the prompt. Let's just try something. Waves hitting the beach with orange sunset in the background. Slow motion. And this one will return an operation. So we can say that the operation is that, and we need to check while not operation done. So while the operation is not finished, we are going to sleep for 10 seconds. So we're going to keep polling the operation. We're going to import time, and we need to then load the operation data again. So we can say operation is going to be Google client operations get, and we can get the operation like that. And once it's finished, we need to then download the video and then save the video. So the video is going to be operation response video, generated videos, and the 0th index. And then we can say Google client operations, not operations, from files can download, and the file is the video. And then we have to save it. So we can say video.save, which is kind of a weird API, but we have to say video.save, and then we can put this file name in here. So let's just call it test.mp4. Let's exit here, just so we can test if this generation works. So let's run it. Let's run the slop again and wait for a while. Now this will take like maybe a minute. Okay, it took a bit more than a minute and it didn't work. So I used the save wrong. I believe that the save comes from, there is a video attribute in the generated video. So I should have done video equals operation response generated videos 0.video. So then we're going to have the save in there. So just be careful how you do this. Let's wait 3 minutes again. Okay, and now we have actually generated a test.mp4. So let's take a look at it. Okay, that's a pretty nice video. But the problem is that this is only an 8-second video, and we probably want a little bit longer of a YouTube video than 8 seconds. But the thing is that with the VO3 API, we can actually extend the videos. So what you can do is in your generate videos, and by the way, I noticed while I was waiting that I used this underscore generate videos. I should probably use the regular generate videos function. It still worked, but that other one is a private function. Anyway, we can pass in here a video, which is the original video that we base the new video on. Now, this can't be just any video on your computer. It has to be a video that was generated with VO3. So in order to make a longer video, what we can do is we can define a function. Let's call this make video. Let's give it the prompt, and then let's give it the previous video, and let's default it to none. So then we can do this thing in here, and we pass in the prompt, and we pass in the previous video as the video, and we wait for it to be generated, and then we just return this thing. We return the video. And then we can make a list of prompts. So let's call it video prompts, and let's put here these waves hitting the beach, and then let's add another one, and we can continue this. We can either just say waves continue to hit the beach, or we can also transition into another scene. So let's do that. So let's say waves continue to hit the beach, and the scene transitions into a close-up of a leaf in a garden with water dripping down. Something like this. And then we can continue even further. Water continues to drip and the sun becomes visible from the clouds. So I guess we have to define here as well. Waves continue to hit the beach and transitions into close-up of a leaf in a garden with water dripping down. Cloudy sky in the background. And then water continues to drip and the sun becomes visible from the clouds. Let's continue even one more time. The scene transitions into a forest where birds are flying through the sky. Something like this. And I guess we can also generate this prompt or this series of prompts with AI. But let's try it out. So then what we can do is we can say for video prompt in prompts, we are then going to say video is make video, and we put in the video prompt, and this should be in video prompts, and we put the video back in here. So let's start the video as none, and we create the video, and then we set video to that video, and then we go to the next one. So then we use the previous video here, and then we're going to stitch them together. And then we can just say Google Client Files Download, and we download the video, and then we save the video. And let's put it to somewhere like background. And let's just slap the time in here. Let's put time.time in here. And let's put some print statements here. Let's say print generating video, and let's say here print waiting for video, and I guess that's enough. So now this should generate a little bit longer of a video. Let's see if it works. Let's run slop.py again, and now we're generating it, and we're waiting for it, and this will take a while. And now after about a minute, we're starting to generate the second video, which actually is just a continuation of the previous video. We don't save any of the intermediate videos at the moment. We're just going to save the last one that has all the videos. But of course, you could save them all if you want. And here it is. It has been generated. So it is going to be this file here. Let's take a look at this longer video. VLC background. Okay, that is looking pretty good. And I think we can stitch these for about 2.5 minutes. So we could make a 2.5 minute video. And then we could make another 2.5 minute video and then just put those together, and that would be the background video. Anyway, let's convert this video generation into a function so that we can generate these longer background videos. So let's define make background video, and I want to give still some sort of prompt for this, and then I want to give a length. So this is going to be an integer, and this one is going to be a string. And what I want to do is I want to generate these video prompts. So maybe I generate the quotes first, and then I give the quotes as the prompt, and I say, based on these quotes, make a background video. So let's say something like this. Let's copy this code because it's basically the same thing. So we are going to say make length short descriptions of a video to be used as a background video based on the above content. So let's put here something like reference content, and that is going to be the prompt. Well, let's call it reference. So make length short descriptions of a video to be used as a background video based on the above content. The video should be suitable for a background of a motivational video about, and let's put the subject here as well. So let's do reference, let's do subject, and then the length. And again, let's say respond in the following JSON format. We can actually use the style guide again. Describe in a few sentences the style in which you are going to create the video and what scenes will be in the video. And then let's do scenes, and this is going to be scene 1, scene 2, and so on. And let's add some more. Every other scene description should start with a transition into another scene and begin with a continuation of the previous scene. For example, and then I'll put my example that I used. So this thing. So can I just copy these things? And I'm going to slap them in here. And I say this 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'll make this a multi-line string like this, which means I don't have to escape these quotes. And then we want to get not the quotes, but the scenes. And we can actually just, let's just return the scenes. So let's call this make background video scenes. So then we can slap it in here. We can say video prompts is make background video scenes. And we put the reference here. So let's try to do the whole thing. Let's move this down. We have our functions here. And then we are going to generate the quotes. And let's do, before we generate the voices, let's make background video scenes. And we can just put the response.text as the reference. Let's do like this, reference is that. And subject is going to be, do I have the subject here? Yes. So I can put the subject and the length. Let's put 4. Now, the problem here is that I have a daily limit of like 10 requests to VO3. So I'm not sure if I can make this video. I already had to change the project, which is kind of a weird workaround. You can just go to your projects here in Google AI Studio and you can just add a new project and then it resets the daily limit. But let's see if we can get one more video made. If I have length of 4 and the previous I think was 4 as well, then that should be just 8. But then I have just 2 left. But let's try to make this video now. But this should be video prompts. And I'll just print the video prompts now. And I'll exit. So we will just see what kind of prompts it makes. And I kind of want to just get the quotes. Can I just do quotes.join and a new line or a comma or a period? Okay, let's see what kind of slop it generates. So we generate the quotes and join doesn't work this way because Python is weird. So we have to say that dot space join quotes for some reason. So let's try it again. And we generate the quotes. And here is our description of the video. A close-up of a person's hands typing rapidly on a backlit keyboard in a dimly lit modern office with blue light reflecting off a silver watch. The typing continues and the scene transitions into a wide-angle shot of a person standing on a wooden deck, looking out at a valley shrouded in morning mist. The mist continues to swirl slowly and the sun begins to break through the clouds, illuminating the vibrant green of the surrounding trees. The scene transitions into a tranquil shoreline, where a person sits in quiet meditation, watching the rhythmic motion of the tide under a soft purple twilight. That sounds pretty good. Now, unfortunately, we didn't create this video, but let's try to create whatever it decides to make next. So we're not going to, we can print the thing just to see what it does. But then we are just going to create a video again. And we're going to download it, and then we're going to exit. And what the hell, let's even generate the voices. Let's do all of it at once. And in fact, let's add the last step. The last content that we need is background music. And we can do that with ElevenLabs. So let's say down here, music equals ElevenLabs client music compose. And what does this take in? It takes in the prompt, and we can do force instrumental because we want instrumental music. So let's say prompt is something. We should generate this prompt also with AI. And force instrumental is true. And let's create the prompt. Let's in fact make this thing a function as well. So let's call it make background music. And again, we give it the reference as a string. And I think that's enough. So let's do that. We create with reference plus something. Create a description of an instrumental background music that would fit the above reference. Let's add here again, reference material, like this. Let's say respond only with the description directly and nothing else, because I'm lazy to parse the JSON again. And I think that's going to be enough. And sorry, this thing is going to be some kind of prompt, but we have to use the Gemini to create the prompt for the music. So the response is going to be Google client models generate content, and the model is going to be Gemini 2.5 Flash, and the contents is going to be this thing. And then the prompt is actually going to be just response.text. And then we can save the music. Let's actually take it in here, file name, and then we can say ElevenLabs save music into file name. And let's move this function up here with all the other functions. And then we can down here print generating music, and we are going to make background music. And again, we use the same reference, this thing, like that. Reference is this, and file name is some music file. And let's say music file is going to be os path join music dir, and let's just say time.time.mp3. Let's say music, like this. And let's define the music dir. And let's also put the background videos in there. So we're going to have a music dir, which is music, and we're going to have videos dir, which is videos, and we're going to create all of these, music dir and videos dir. And where do we actually save the video? We do it down here. Let's say that the video file is going to be os path join videos dir, and then we're going to put this thing, and this is video file, and let's call it video. So in the end, we should have all the content that we need, and then we just have to combine them together somehow. And there's an error here. This should be like that. And let's go through the whole thing one more time. We get the authors, we get the subject, we generate the quotes, then we make the background video scenes based on the quotes. Then we are going to make the video. So we should add a print statement generating video. And let's just put the video prompts here so we can see what they are. And then we generate the voices. And finally, we generate the music. And then it's done. So let's run it and see what we get. Now this is kind of funny. It actually generated almost the same video. A close-up of a person's hands typing rapidly on a keyboard in a dimly lit office with the frantic blurred lights of a city reflecting in the dark window glass. Okay, but let's see what the final result is. The video has been generated, So now it's time for the voices. And voices are luckily pretty fast to generate. And then after we make the last voice, we should start generating the music. And let's see what kind of music we generate. Now, I didn't print the actual prompt that was used, so I'm not sure what it used. I should print it. But let's see what kind of music it will generate for us. Okay, everything is done, no errors. Let's see what kind of music we have. We have a music directory up here, and we have 3.5 minutes of music. Amazing. Let's listen to it. Okay, that sounds like some music that you could have in the background of a motivational video. Pretty good. And let's listen to a couple of the quotes. So here's the first one.
We treat the present moment as a mere hurdle to be cleared on the way to a future peace. Yet the quality of your attention right now is the only life you truly possess.
Okay.
The belief that you will find lasting satisfaction once your to-do list is finished is a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of the mind. You must negotiate with yourself as though you are someone you are responsible for helping. If you treat yourself as a mere instrument of production, the mechanism will eventually fail. To sacrifice your foundational stability for the sake of professional status is to invite a storm into your home that no amount of external success can quiet.
Okay, nice quotes. And then let's take a look at our video. What is this going to look like? I'm going to actually open it in VLC because VS Code doesn't really know how to play the audio. Although we're not going to probably use the audio, but I just want to hear it. I mean, that looks amazing, honestly. If we just continue this for the whole 2.5 minutes and then make another clip for 2.5 minutes and just continue this, then I think we can just fill the whole video with this kind of content. It's going to look pretty good. So at this point, what you could do is you could open up all these files in some video editor and slap them all together and make a beautiful video that you can post on YouTube. But is that enough for me? No, that's not enough. I want to generate a whole video from start to finish with Python. So let's do it. I'm going to create a separate script for this. So let's call it something like merger.py. So I'm going to use the assets that we already have here and put them together. Now, ultimately, we want to automate the whole process so that you can just give it the authors and the subject, and then it will generate the full finalized video with a single prompt. But just so that I don't have to generate new assets all the time, I'm going to use the original ones. So let's define some sort of function like merge assets. And this one will take the background video or videos. We probably want to have the ability to add multiple background videos. And this is going to be a list of strings, so the video paths. And we also need the background music. And this is also going to be a list of strings, so the file names. And then we have to pass in the quotes. And we need the quote files, the audio files, and then the quote texts. So let's call it like quotes. Maybe I should call it something more generic, but let's call it quotes for now. And this is going to be a list of quote objects. So let's define this data type. Let's do class quote. And this one is going to have a text, which is a string, and the audio file, which is a string. And we're just going to do self text is text, and self audio file is audio file. And then we have to loop through all the quotes. So the total length of the audio files of the quotes will be the full length of the video. And the way we're going to generate the video is we're going to use MoviePy. So let's actually install MoviePy. Pip install MoviePy. And I'm going to add it into the requirements.text MoviePy with this version. And let's do for quote in quotes, the audio file, or let's call it audio clip, is going to be an audio file clip from the quote audio file. And for this, we have to import from MoviePy, import audio file clip. And the way we can put audio files together with MoviePy is we can use a composite audio clip. So let's import this thing too. Composite audio clip, and we can put here a list of audio clips. So let's call it audio clips, and let's add all the audio clips in this list. So we start with an empty list, and we are going to do audio clips append audio clip. But by default, the composite audio clip will play all of the audios at the same time. So we need to advance the start time of each audio clip before we put it in the list. So let's say that the start is 0, or maybe we even want to have some sort of like maybe 2 seconds in the beginning before we start to play an audio. And we can then, before we append the thing, we can say audio clip is audio clip with start. And we can put the start here. And then we have to advance the start. So let's say start plus equals audio clip duration. And we might want to add some sort of padding here. So let's add padding, which might be like, I don't know, 2 seconds. Let's say padding is 2. So now the full audio is going to be this. So we're going to have every audio clip back to back with a 2-second padding in between. Great. Next, let's do a similar thing with the background videos. So for video in background videos, we are going to say that the video clip is going to be video file clip from the video. So let's import this thing too. Video file clip. And we also need to have all the background, what should I call this? Video clips, let's say. And we are going to do video clips append the video clip. And then we can say that the full background video is going to be composite video clip of the video clips. And let's import this thing too. Composite video clip. So now we are going to have the full background video where all of the videos are put back to back. And then finally, let's do the same thing with the background music. So I'm probably going to copy this code from here. And I will call this music clips. And this is just going to be background music. And it is not a music clip file. It is an audio clip file clip. And this is also audio. And we might want to add the same kind of padding here. And by the way, we have to also keep track of the start time in this one. Otherwise, all the videos are going to be on top of each other. So let's say start is 0. And then we're going to say video clip is video clip with start. And start plus equals the video clip duration. And the videos, of course, are going to be back to back. There's no padding here. And here start is 0. And we are going to say music clip with start. And we are going to say start plus equals music clip duration. And let's add the padding here as well. And then let's just put them together. So we can say that the full video is going to be just the full background video with audio. And we could put the full background music here, but we also need to add the quote audio. And we can't do with audio twice because it's going to replace the audio. So we have to make a full audio, which I already named the quotes full audio. So maybe this can be just quotes audio. Let's name it even full quotes audio since everything else is full. So the full audio is going to be a composite audio clip. And we're going to put in here the full quotes audio and the full background music. And then we can just do full video write video file, and we can give it a name. Let's call it output file. And let's set the FPS to the full video FPS. And let's define this output file here. So let's say that we can pass in output file, which is a string. Now, there's a little bit of a problem here because we just take the full background video and we add the audio to it. But what if the full background video is too long or too short? What if the audio is longer? So we are going to have to loop the background videos and the background music. And in case they are longer than the full audio or the quotes audio, then we have to clip them as well. So let's do that. Let's say that the full video duration is going to be the full quotes audio duration. So that's how long of a video we're going to make. And then what we can do is we can say full background video equals full background video with effects. So we can add some effects to this video. And there is an effect called loop. And we have to import that from the MoviePy effects. So from MoviePy video fx import loop. And this is just going to return a clip that plays the current clip in an infinite loop. Okay, so then it's going to be an infinite video. So then let's say that the full background video is full background video with duration, full video duration. So now it's going to loop until this duration. And if it's too long, then it's going to be cut to that duration. And I don't really like that this is so long of a name. So let's just call it full BG video. And maybe I can put this on one line like that. And let's do the same thing with the audio. So the background music. And let's call this also full BG music. And let's name this full BG music. But now we can't use the same loop here because this is for a video. So we have to say audio loop. And that has to be imported from MoviePy audio fx audio loop. And this one works a bit differently. So this returns an audio clip that plays the given clip either in loops times or during duration seconds. So that's not an infinite thing. So what we have to do is we have to say audio loop and say duration is going to be the full video duration. And I guess we still need to use with duration so that it's going to be stopped if it's too long. I don't think the audio loop will cut it to the duration. So now I think this should work. But of course, we just made the function. We have to call the function. So let's try it out. Let's say merge assets. And let's say output file is output.mp4. And let's say background videos is going to be just the video we have here. So let's copy this path and put it here. And background music is going to be just the music we have over here. And then the quotes, well, we have to now read them from these files. So let's say that this is just quotes, and let's build this list up here. Quotes is an empty list. And then since we know that we have 10 videos, then we can just do for I in range 10. Audio file is going to be quotes slash, how did I name them? Quote and the index. So quote and the index.mp3, and text file is going to be quotes, quote, index I.text. Then we can say quotes append, and we can append a quote with the audio file, which is going to be audio file, and text. This is not text file, this is just text. So we need to read the text. So let's do here with open text file in read mode as f. We're going to do this, and we're going to say this is f dot read, like that. So now we should have gathered all the quotes here, and then we just run it. So let's see if it works. Python 3 merger.py. And video file clip does not have attribute n channels. Interesting. So where did this come from? From line 60. Okay. We are trying to make an audio clip from video clips. So this is, of course, music clips. This is why you shouldn't copy paste even your own code. Let's try again. Attribute error. Tuple object has no attribute write audio file. Excuse me? Okay. This is the weirdest bug I have ever seen. Can you spot what is the issue here? This is crazy. This is crazy. I have a comma here, which makes this thing a tuple, which then screws everything up. So if we remove this comma from here, and then we use full audio, and then we run it, then it works. Okay, and it's ready. Let's take a look at our output.mp4.
We treat the present moment as a mere hurdle to be cleared on the way to a future peace. Yet the quality of your attention right now is the only life you truly possess. The belief that you will find lasting satisfaction once your to-do list is finished is a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of the mind. You must negotiate with yourself as though you are someone you are responsible for helping. If you treat yourself as a mere instrument of production, the mechanism will eventually fail.
Okay, so it works. But there's a couple issues. First of all, I think we need a longer background video. But the problem is that it's quite expensive to use VO3 for the videos because it's 40 cents per second. So if you want to make like a 10-minute video, it's going to be like $200. So perhaps it's better to use some stock video library, or maybe we can generate just a looping video with VO3. That's just like the waves breaking at the shore or something like that. And also, I would like to add a fade to when the background video loops, because right now it just changes directly from this to this. So let's try to do that. Also, I think we should lower the volume of the background music. So let's do that right now. So let's add to the effects something. Let's see what kind of effects do we have in here. In audio, we have multiply volume. And this one takes just a factor by which to multiply. So what we can do is we can say multiply volume like 0.2. So there's only going to be like 20% volume in the background music. And then we can do the fading between the clips in here. We can add to each video clip. Let's say video clip is video clip with effects. And there's an effect called, let's see what it's called. In video, there's a fade. There is crossfade in and crossfade out. So this is what we need, crossfade in and crossfade out. And this basically makes the clip appear progressively over duration seconds. Only works when the clip is included in a composite video clip. So what we can do is we can say crossfade in, let's say like 1 second, and crossfade out 1 second. And since we add it to a composite video clip, then it's gonna fade between them nicely. Let's see if it works. I'm going to write the video again, but I'm going to do full video is full video with duration, and let's put just like 40 seconds because I don't want to write the whole video file because it takes a while. Okay, let's see what this looks like now.
We treat the present moment as a mere hurdle to be cleared on the way to a future peace. Yet the quality of your attention right now is the only life you truly possess. The belief that you will find lasting satisfaction once your to-do list is finished is a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of the mind. You must negotiate with yourself as though you are someone you are responsible for helping. If you treat yourself as a mere instrument of production, the mechanism will eventually fail.
It didn't work. We did not fade between these two.
Treat yourself as a mere instrument of production.
Why not? Let's take a look. We create the background video and we add effects, crossfade in, crossfade out, and then we set the start and we append it to the video clips. And then we make the full background video from that, and then we loop. Why doesn't it work? Okay, so after debugging this for like 30 minutes, I came to the conclusion that crossfade does not work with loop. But if I put in the same video here multiple times, and then I offset the start of the next clip by the duration of the fade, then it actually works. So we need to do the looping manually. So let me take out all of these extra videos from here. And how are we going to loop this manually? Let me take the loop out of here. We have to do something like this. Let me first of all call this something like fade time. And fade time is 2. I will actually put 2 here because I think 1 is too fast. So we put all the videos together. We add the crossfade between them, and then we do the full background video, which is all of the videos together. Let's then calculate how many times we need to repeat this full video in order to fill the whole duration of the video. So loop times is going to be full video duration divided by the full background video duration. Right. So if the full video is 200 seconds and the background video is 100 seconds, this is going to be 2. And if it is 150 seconds, then it's going to be 1.5. So we have to do a seal. Is there just a seal in Python? How do you do seal in Python? Maybe math.seal. Is there import math? And let's not import the loop. And let's see, do we have that kind of thing? Math.seal. Okay. So then we have to do all of this again. And even this thing. So all of that, which maybe we want to move this into a function. So we want to say for underscore in range loop times. We are going to take just a full background video like this. So we don't load a separate video clip. We use the full background video. We add to that the effects. And then we set the start time and we add it to the video clips. And then we add to the duration and we subtract the fade time. And then we can reassign full BG video to a composite video clip of the BG video repeated in these video clips. And then we can set the duration of that to the full video duration. So I think it's going to work now. Let me run it one more time. And here we go. Let's see if it works.
We treat the present moment as a mere hurdle to be cleared on the way of the nature of the mind. You must negotiate with yourself as though you are someone you are responsible for helping. If you treat yourself as a mere instrument of production,
it works.
The mechanism will...
It actually works. Look at this. We are fading between
yourself as though you
the last two ones.
Responsible for helping. If you treat yourself as a mere instrument of production.
Amazing. We have to add the actual quote as text on the screen. And then the video is going to be done. So let's do that. Let's add a text clips list here. And while we go through the quotes, let's also do a text clip, which is a text clip. And this also comes from MoviePy. So let's import text clip. And we can pass in a font, a text, a font size, margin, color, and all kinds of stuff. And a method, and then the align. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to say that the text is going to be quote.text. And let's not define a font at the moment. Let's just use the default. And we need to set the method. This is important because the method determines the wrapping. So with the caption, the text will be drawn in a picture with fixed size provided with the size argument. The text will be wrapped automatically, either by auto-computing font size if width and height are provided, or adding line break when necessary if font size is defined. So this is what we want. We can use caption, and we have to set the size, which I guess can be the size of the video. So let's create the background video first. Let's move all of this stuff, except the duration, because we calculate that from the audio. Let's move it up here. So we first make the background video. So then we can say the size is the full BG video dot size. And let's say text align is center and horizontal align is center and vertical align is also center. And do we want something else? There's a margin as well. We probably want to have a margin. Let's do margin. And I think margin is going to add to the size. So actually what we have to do is we have to define the size separately. So size is a tuple with width and height. So let's take the width of the full video and let's do something like times, I don't know, 0.6. And let's do 1 times 0.6. So 0 is the width and 1 is the height. But I think it doesn't really matter because we use the same factor there. And then the margin is going to be 0.2. So each side will have a 20% margin. Is that too much? Maybe just 15%. So then this is going to be 70%. And let's define also the color. Let's do black. And actually it's default to black, whatever. Let's set the color. And let's set stroke color is white. And stroke width, I want like, I think 5 pixels. But it will depend on the size of the video. So can we take like the width of the video and what would it be if it's 5 pixels and then it's like 1920? So how much is this if we evaluate 0.002? Okay, so let's say that it is the width of the video times 0.002. That's the stroke width. And I think that should be all. Do we need something else from here? We need to set a duration. And the duration, it's going to be the duration of the audio clip. Although we might want to show it a bit earlier. So let's do audio clip duration minus, I don't know, half a second. Oh, sorry, plus. So let's add to the duration. We should add 1 second to the duration. And then we need to do text clip is text clip set start. And we set the start to the start of the quote audio minus 0.5. So then it's going to start half a second earlier than the actual sound. Maybe we should say that this is the sound text fade time. Like this. So we can say here text fade time times 2. And we can define text fade time, which is going to be 0.2. But not here. We're going to define it down here. Or maybe even here. And let's also fade the text in. So let's do text clip is text clip with effects. And we can again use the cross fade in. And let's put here the fade time. and cross fade out is fade time. Sorry, text fade time, like that. And then we just add this to the text clips. So text clips, append text clip. And then we have to say full text video, I guess, is going to be composite video clip, because the text clips are just video clips. So we can say composite video clip, text clips. And then we just have to add the full text video to the final video. So let's say that the full video is going to be a composite video clip of the full background video and the full text video. And let's change this. So now it should work. We should have some text on the screen. Let's see what it looks like. Local variable full video duration referenced before assignment on line 42. Okay, so we don't have the full video duration because we get it from here. So where did we use this? In the loop times. Okay, we can do the looping afterwards. So let's make the background video, which I guess it shouldn't be called full anymore. Let's call it all BG videos. And then we can use here all BG videos size. And we can then say here the full BG video is all BG videos. And before that, we are going to duplicate it like this. So actually, this is going to be full BG video, but here we are going to use not full BG video, but all BG videos. Does that make any sense? Do we still use full BG video somewhere? Here and only there. Okay, let's see if that works now. Let's run it. And float object cannot be interpreted as integer. Line 54. I think the size needs to be an integer. So let's make the size and the margin both integers. Let's try again. And text clip object has no attribute set start. Did you mean with start? Yes, I did mean that. So where is it? With start. And then it's doing something. What's it doing? Let's see what it looks like. Seems like it's going to take a while. So let me actually make an even shorter video. Let's do just like 5 seconds, because I just want to see what the text looks like. Okay, this will just take 40 seconds. And let's see what kind of text we get.
We treat the present moment as a mere hurdle to be cleared on the way.
That looks pretty nice. Let's see again.
We treat the present moment as a mere hurdle to be cleared on the way.
That looks pretty nice, but the font is kind of terrible. So let's change the font. So I'll just pick a Google font. I will use this one, Just. So let's get it. And Google fonts are TTF fonts, but if I remember correctly, MoviePy wants an open type font. So let's go and convert it. Let's just do TTF to OTF and find the first converter. And I'll just use this converter to convert the file. And let's download it. And let's use it. I'm going to cp from downloads just semibold.otf here. And let's put here font is just semibold.otf. And let's run it again and see what kind of video we get. And actually, I will just run the whole thing. So we're going to see the final video. So remove this part from here. Okay, it's done. Let's take a look at our final AI Slop motivational video.
We treat the present moment as a mere hurdle to be cleared on the way to a future peace. Yet the quality of your attention right now is the only life you truly possess. The belief that you will find lasting satisfaction once your to-do list is finished is a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of the mind. You must negotiate with yourself as though you are someone you are responsible for helping. If you treat yourself as a mere instrument of production, the mechanism will eventually fail. To sacrifice your foundational stability for the sake of professional status is to invite a storm into your home that no amount of external success can quiet. The goal is not to escape the burden of responsibility, but to carry it in a way that does not extinguish the very spirit that makes the effort meaningful. Elite performance requires the wisdom to pause. If you do not purposefully schedule time to refuel your internal fire, you will leave nothing behind but ashes. A life lived solely for the applause of the marketplace is a life where the soul remains malnourished, regardless of the height of the summit reached. True leadership is the discipline to protect your personal vitality, for you cannot give to the world what you have already depleted within yourself. Do not let the clamor of the city disturb the inner fortress of your mind. Evaluate every task by whether it serves your character or merely your vanity. Remind yourself of the brevity of your existence and let that clarity prune away all that is non-essential to a life of virtue and quiet focus.
Okay, that's very good. There's some issues with the word wrap and it ended very abruptly. But overall, I'm very happy with this. So let's now integrate this thing with our slop maker. So we can just run one script and it will create a brand new video that's ready for publishing. So let's add some padding first to the end of the video. Let's take the full video duration and let's just add to it some end padding. And do we use this duration somewhere else? No, we just get it from here. So let's define somewhere here, like an end padding. And let's do like 10 seconds in the end. And maybe that's all we need. So we create the background videos, we just put them all together. Then we make the quotes, and then we just define the full duration as the duration of the audio of the quotes. We add to it the end padding, and then we calculate the loop times based on that. So it already has the padding in there. And then we loop it, and then we take the full thing and we cut it to the full duration. So that should work just fine. And let's also add like a fade out to the music and probably the video too. So we take the full background video and let's do full BG video is full BG video with effects. And let's add here like a fade out, but not cross fade out, I think, because we want to fade to black. So let's take fade out from here. And I think there's a fade out, there's an audio fade out as well. So let's do this, fade out, and it takes in, does it take in something? A duration. So how many seconds do we want to fade out? Let's do 5 seconds. And let's do the same thing with the audio. So we get the background music, we do with duration, and then we add effects. Oh, we have the effects already. So let's add the fade out. And hopefully we can add the fade out before we change the duration. I think it's going to work, because I think it's going to apply the effects only in the end. And this should be audio fade out. And I don't want to test that out anymore because it takes so long. So let's just integrate this with the slop maker. And let's make a brand new slop. So we'll remove this part and I will have only the function in here. So then in slop, we can import, actually let's do from merger, import merge assets. And then down here, let's put this thing in like a if name equals main. Then we're going to do all this stuff. And we generate the quotes. Then we make the video prompts. We generate the video. And then we have the video file. So that's going to be the background video. Then we generate the voices. And we save the audio file. Now we should also create that quotes array. So let's do this quotes array or list. And we can say here quotes append. And we add a quote. which we have to import from merger quote. And we just set the text to the quote and the audio file to the audio file. So now we're going to have the quotes. And then we have the music file here. We generate the music. So now we have the quotes, we have the music, we have the background video, and I think that's all. Right. Quotes, music, background video. Okay, so then we just merge them. So we call here, let's do print, creating final video, and we are just going to say merge assets. And let's say output file is output file. Let's define this somewhere. And background videos is just going to be the one video we made, which is going to be video file. Is it? Let's make sure. Video file is going to be the path to the video. Okay. And background music is going to be the music file. I think that's what I called it. Yes. And finally, we need the quotes, which is just quotes. Let's see, did I use quotes? I used quotes already for something else. So let's call this something else. Quotes list. And we're going to append to the quotes list this thing. And that should work. Then you just need to define output file. And let's make the whole thing even a function. Let's do that. So let's just call this make slop. So yeah, we call make slop here. And we read the authors and the subject. So let's do authors and subject. And let's put the output file here as well. And let's say output file is something. Let's even do this argv1. And let's import sys. Import sys. And if the length of sys argv is less than 2, then we're going to print usage. And let's put sys argv0 output file. And let's do like that. And let's just exit. And then we can make this a function, make slop with authors, which is a string, and subject, which is a string, and output file, which is a string. And let's move the main all the way down here. And then in make slop, let's move the creation of the directories in there. Let's copy these and let's put them in here. And I kind of want to make a separate directory every time when I make a new slop. So let's refactor this a little bit. Let's say output dir. It's just going to be something like the time.time. Let's make it an integer as well, like that. Is there a better way of making a string of the timestamp? I mean, maybe it would be nicer to have is there strf time? If I just remembered how this thing works. Okay, ymdhms. Let's do that. ymdhms. Is it like that? ymdhms. Okay, so we can remove this thing. That returns a string, right? Yeah. So let's say os mkdir output dir. So let's remove this. Let's not pass in anything like this. We're just gonna make the directory, and we don't even have to check anything. We just make that directory. Then we do os mkdir, os path join, output dir, and quotes, which I guess could be the quotes dir. So let's take these things from here as well, and let's define them here like this. So quote directory is this, music directory is this, and videos directory is this. And then we don't even have to check anything. They shouldn't exist. We create them all. And they probably don't have to be capitalized. Let's say quotes dir, and music dir, and videos dir. And then the output file is going to be os path join, output dir, and final video.mp4, like that. So then we generate the quotes, and we create the video prompts we create the video, and we put it in the videos tier, and we create the voices, and we create the quotes, and we add them here, and we create the music, then we create the final video. And then we can print something like, done. Here is your video. And let's just put the output file here. Let's do like that. Okay. Let's see if it works first try. Let me go to subject and let's change the subject. Previous subject was work-life balance. Let's put something like parenting. So this is our new subject. We're going to make parenting AI Slop motivational videos. So let's run it. Python 3 slop.py. Now I hope this works first try because generating the VO3 video costs around $25. And with my ad revenue, I'm not going to make that in quite some time. So if this doesn't work, then that is the end of the video. Okay, we are generating quotes. Let's see, did we get an output directory? We do have an output directory here. And we have music, quotes, and videos. But nothing in there yet. But here we go. We are now generating the video. Okay, the first part of the video is ready. So now we're gonna append to that. And we're gonna do this like 4 times. Each time adding around 8 seconds to it. Okay, and the video is done, although I don't see the video. Hopefully it was actually saved somewhere. Why is it not here? Maybe we save it later in the code. Let me see. Where do we save the video? We should save the video, but we don't have the video. Where did the video go? I can't see it here. Or is VS Code just being stupid right now? Can we refresh this thing? Ah, it's there. Okay, we have a video. And then, now we're generating music already. And we have quotes here already. So the next step after music is going to be the final video. And the whole thing is generated with one script, which basically the prompt is just parenting. Of course, we have built-in prompts in the code, but we just gave it a subject and it didn't work because I passed in the quotes list instead of the quotes list. So I called this quotes at first, but then I changed it to quotes list. But I forgot to change it over here. So it didn't work. But it should now work. I'm not going to create more assets anymore because it costs too much money. So I'm just going to manually merge these elements and we can pretend like it worked first time, okay? So let's say output 2.mp4 and let's copy the path of the video file and let's take the music file from here and then let's use the quotes, but we're gonna read the quotes from this directory /quotes. Okay, let's see what this video would have looked like if it would have worked first try. What is this?
Parenting is the deliberate engineering of a future consciousness.
Okay. So I guess I used the wrong video file. And I just waited 15 minutes for it to generate this. Let's take a look. What is this thing? This one definitely is another video. So let me copy this path and slap it in here. And just to make sure, what is this music? It's similar to the previous one, but let's make sure that we use this particular music. I guess we used it already. Okay. Let me do it again and wait 15 minutes. And here it is. Let's take a look at the parenting motivational quote video.
Parenting is the deliberate engineering of a future consciousness. Your presence is the fundamental variable that determines the baseline quality of a child's internal landscape. To raise a child is to witness the unfolding of a mind in real time, placing a moral obligation upon the parent to provide a framework where reason and empathy can flourish. You are not merely raising a child, You are fortifying a soul against the inevitable friction of existence, and that requires you to embody the highest truth you can conceptualize. To love a child is to demand the best from them, for to indulge their temporary weakness is to betray the person they are capable of becoming. Parenting is the ultimate sacrifice of the ego for the sake of the future, a voluntary assumption of the heaviest burden because the alternative is the disintegration of order. Your children will not remember your instructions. They will remember the fire in your eyes when you chased your own greatness and invited them to witness the hunt. The most enduring legacy is not found in what you leave for your children, but in the standard of excellence and kindness you leave within them. Do not fret over a future that is not yet yours. Focus only on the virtue you model in this present moment, for your character is the only inheritance that cannot be taken away. Nature has assigned you the role of a guide. Perform it with dignity and without complaint, understanding that a well-ordered mind in the parent is the greatest gift to the child. Consider that your child is a part of the universal whole. Your duty is to return them to the world more resilient, more just, and more disciplined than when they were first entrusted to your care.
Okay, a bit weird, but it works. So there's a little bit something we should do about the text, because the word wrapping is kind of not working properly, because it's not always wrapping at the word. And then again, we need a bit longer of a background video. This is repeating too much. But I think at least as a proof of concept, this works quite well. Let me know your thoughts in the comments and whether you would like to see me work more on this project. Anyway, that is going to be it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, so I couldn't leave the video there because I wasn't quite happy with the result. So I spent some more time on it, and I in fact integrated a stock video platform to it. I found this platform called Pexels, which surprisingly is completely free. And they also have an API, which also is surprisingly free. So instead of using VO3 to generate very expensive, sloppy AI videos, we can actually use real videos. So what I did was I added this check. If we want to use the VO3 API, then we're just gonna generate the video with VO3. But if we want to use the Pexels API, then what we do is, while we don't have enough video to cover the full duration of the audio, we are going to generate some search queries with Gemini for Pexels. So we just give it the reference, which will be just a list of quotes, and a number of queries to make. And we say, make this many short video search queries for the Pexels API for the background videos of a motivational quote video about the subject, and we give it the subject. So this just makes a bunch of queries. And then for each of the queries, we are going to get a video with that query. So this just connects to the Pexels API, and it will get the first video that matches that search query and also is 1920 by 1080 resolution. And really the reason why I use this exact resolution is that my computer is too slow to render the videos in a higher resolution, or it takes a very long time. Even with this, it takes like 20 minutes to render a 2-minute video. Anyway, it just keeps getting the videos and downloading the videos until we have enough videos for the full duration of the audio. So we can just fill the whole video with background videos. And I also save the name of the author and the URL to the actual video that can be viewed on the Pexels website. And I save this in this video info list. And we also save the timestamp for each video when it occurred in our final video. So then we can add this to like the description on the YouTube video. Because the Pexels API kind of requires you to give attribution to the authors, but it's a little bit contradictory. So on the actual website, it says that attribution is not required, giving credit to the photographer or Pexels is not necessary, but always appreciated. But in the API, in the guidelines, it says always credit our photographers when possible. And whenever you are doing an API request, make sure to show a prominent link to Pexels. Now, I guess this one just means that if you integrate the API on like a website, that on the website it will like fetch automatically from Pexels, then you should tell the user that you're doing that. But in this case, it's a little bit different because we are generating the videos beforehand. But anyway, it's nice to credit the authors. And I also made it so that it creates this JSON file, this slopinfo.json, where it saves all the information, so that we can use this file to later render the video in case I make changes to the merge assets function. And this also saves in the meta the info about the videos. So the authors of the videos and then the authors of the quotes as well, if you want to credit those people who we stole the quotes from, and the original subject we used and everything. And I also fixed the word wrapping. I made a kind of a dumb fix to it, but anyway, I just set a specific font size and then I set maximum characters per line. And then I just split the text based on that. Now, the character count is not really the best thing to determine how long a line of text is, but it works well enough for this situation. Now, I also ran into an issue with MoviePy once I started to use the Pexels API, which is that every time you call video file clip, it will start the FFmpeg process in the background and it will use a bunch of memory. And it does this even if you don't use the video clip right then and there. So what ends up happening is that since we load all of the background videos, which there can be like 12 now, this will use like 8 gigs of RAM, which is quite a lot. But the solution that I found is that after I create the video clip, I call video clip reader close, which will close the FFmpeg in the background. And then when we actually run write video file, then MoviePy will open the FFmpeg automatically. So it will check if the process has died, then it will start it over. But the problem is still that by the end of the writing of the video file, it will keep open all of the video files that were in the beginning of the video, even though it doesn't use them anymore. So then in the end, it will still use 8 gigs of RAM. So a hack that I figured out to fix this was that I create this separate thread. So after we create all of these background video clips and we have this list of the video clips, I pass them into this purger thread. And in the purger thread, what I do is I just have an infinite loop that will count how many active clips we have. So how many clips that have the reader process open. And if we have more than 2 active clips, we take the first clip and we just close the reader. And this works in this case because we never need more than 2 clips at once. So the only place where we need 2 clips is when we fade between the 2 clips. So we have to read from both of the files in the middle while we fade. But after that we can close it, because when we go to the third clip, we are never going to use the first clip anymore. So this works. And by doing this, the memory usage goes from 8 gigs to like 2 gigs. And I also added this hack here because normally this FFmpeg video reader, which the MoviePy uses, it prints out some garbage here. So if the process is not initialized, then it will say proc not detect. And I don't want to have this. I don't want to have it print this all the time. So I just made my own function that checks if the proc is not detected, then it will initialize it and it will not print anything out. And otherwise it will just call the original. So this is just a hack to get rid of that print statement. So now it works great. So let me show some videos that I have created with this. I made 4 different videos. The first one is about life lessons, and the second one is about fitness motivation, and the third one is about parenting, and the last one is about motivation for studying. So to end this video, I will show you those clips and let me know in the comments what you think and how I should improve this further. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
The fundamental lesson of existence is that the quality of your life is determined by the precise mechanics of your attention in this moment, rather than the stories you tell yourself about the past. True freedom begins when you realize that your internal reactions are not mandatory responses to the world, but psychological events that can be observed with clinical detachment. You must contend with the reality that you are a vessel for potential, and failing to aim at the highest possible good is a betrayal of the very structure of your being. Learning is the voluntary process of incinerating your outdated assumptions so that something more resilient can emerge from the ashes of your previous ignorance. Meaning is found at the razor's edge between the familiar and the unknown, requiring a courageous engagement with the very difficulties you would most prefer to ignore. Mastery is not a singular event, but a relentless commitment to the tiny, uncomfortable habits that eventually aggregate into an extraordinary life. The growth you seek is hidden behind the very tasks you are avoiding. Your future self is waiting for you to demonstrate the courage of your daily convictions. Consistency is the currency of greatness, and those who choose the difficult path of discipline will eventually inhabit a landscape of limitless possibility. Look inward to the source of your own strength, for there is a spring of good that will always bubble up if you only dig deep enough into your own character. Do not be troubled by the turbulence of fortune or the fleeting opinions of others, for your internal reason is a sanctuary that remains untouched unless you grant entrance to despair. Hypertrophy isn't a reward for showing up. It is the biological consequence of a stimulus that your body can no longer ignore. If your technical execution collapses before your metabolic stress peaks, you aren't building muscle. You are merely practicing the art of momentum. True progress is found in the narrow margin where maximum mechanical tension meets the limits of your systemic recovery. Every repetition is a diagnostic test of your structural integrity. Move with intent, or your joints will eventually file a protest. The most optimized program in the world will fail if your level of effort doesn't match the physiological demands of the tissue you're trying to change. Stop chasing the weight on the bar and start chasing the tension in the muscle fibers, because your biology doesn't care about the numbers, only the stress. Longevity in this game isn't about avoiding the heavy work. It's about mastering the mechanics that allow you to do the heavy work forever. Data-driven training means nothing if you lack the discipline to apply those findings when the session gets uncomfortable. Consistency is the only variable that can turn a mediocre plan into a transformative result over a long enough timeline. You cannot out-supplement a lack of intensity. The body only adapts when it is convinced that its current state is no longer sufficient for survival. The highest duty you owe to the future is the disciplined governance of your own reactions in the present moment. To guide a developing mind is to confront the depths of your own ignorance with a commitment to speak only what is true. Parenting is the ultimate arena where the chaos of biological life meets the structured pursuit of human excellence. Your child is not an extension of your own unfulfilled desires, but a sovereign consciousness whose flourishing depends on the quality of your attention. True leadership within the home is found not in the exercise of authority, but in the steady cultivation of a character worth imitating. Accept the fleeting nature of their childhood as a command to be fully present. The shadow of their future is cast by the light of your current awareness. The weight of your responsibility is the very mechanism through which you transcend the trivial and find meaning in the existence of another. Observe the rising tides of your own frustration as a witness would. Do not allow the storms of your mind to become the permanent climate of your child's world. To raise a resilient spirit, You must provide both the absolute shelter of love and the necessary friction of the world's demands. In the quiet, repetitive labor of raising another, we find our most profound alignment with the natural order and the highest expression of our humanity. To neglect the cultivation of your intellect is to voluntarily choose a narrower window through which to view the reality of your own existence. Standing before the vast unknown of a new subject requires the courage to admit your current inadequacy, so that you might eventually embody a higher level of competence. True mastery is forged in the silent hours of deep concentration, where the ordinary mind seeks the comfort of distraction, but the architect of excellence seeks the friction of insight. Consider how little time the universe grants you. To spend your brief flickering of consciousness in a state of intellectual stagnancy is an affront to the rational nature you were born to exercise. Your ability to tether your attention to a difficult concept is the primary tool by which you transform your internal chaos into a structured and useful reality. When the impulse to avoid your desk arises, remember that the temporary discomfort of learning is a small tax to pay for the lasting freedom that comes with objective understanding. Excellence is never a stroke of luck. It is the cumulative result of 1,000 minor victories over the primitive temptation to remain comfortably uninformed. Every hour spent in rigorous study is an act of neurological craftsmanship, refining the lens through which you perceive the world until the truth becomes self-evident. Do not complain about the weight of the knowledge you must acquire. Instead, be grateful for the burden, for it is the weight of potential that anchors you against the drifting tides of mediocrity. The task before you is a neutral requirement of nature. Your commitment to it determines the quality of the character you are constructing in this very moment.